Yannick incarne la musique.
Il nous donne tellement qu'on a envie de lui donner aussi.
On dirait que tu t'apprêtes à faire un combat de boxe.
Presque. Non, c'est plus relax. C'est juste de la poésie.
The emotion, the light, the passion. Yannick Nézet-Seguin has it all. The Montreal-born star of the classical music world seems to spread joy wherever he goes.
On peut aimer la musique seule dans son salon, mais la partager comme ça avec les gens, c'est la chose que Yannick fait le mieux.
Yannick Nézet-Seguin a cette capacité de mobiliser l'amour et l'énergie des gens dans l'orchestre, tout simplement parce qu'il les respecte. Il a ce même respect et amour vis-à-vis du public.
Même quand on danse chez les Tchèques et toute la musique slave, c'est qu'on a envie un peu d'être nostalgique, on a envie un petit peu de verser une petite larme.
At the age of 41, Yannick appears to be one of those extraordinary people whose success comes not from ambition, but from love and joy. For the music, for the musicians, for the public, for life.
C'est le charisme, c'est le contact qu'on a avec lui.
C'est pas seulement qu'il fait de la musique, mais il donne une histoire.
Last June, the young maestro was appointed musical director of the New York Metropolitan Opera. Nézet-Seguin also directs the Philadelphia Orchestra and the Rotterdam Philharmonic, but he is rarely as happy as he is here, on the top of Montreal.
C'est comme revenir à la maison, c'est comme avoir les gens qui m'ont connu, qui m'ont vu grandir et que j'ai vu grandir. C'est unique, c'est irremplaçable.
Yannick Nézet-Seguin was in elementary school when he first discovered classical music. It was a revelation.
I remember so well the first concert. Zubin Mehta conducting Tchaikovsky Pathétique with the OSM. I was 8 years old. Zubin Mehta held his hands really still at the silence at the end of this beautiful symphony. I fell in love.
So much so that at the age of 10, Yannick was already conducting. It was an imaginary orchestra that he led through a very personal interpretation of Bolero by Ravel.
During the summertime especially, I would, put a record and then stand on something higher, and then some friends would come and with two little branches of wood, they would imitate violin, and yeah, I was convincing them to do that, imagine.
He is a natural-born leader, one who musicians and the public will follow no matter where he takes them. Last summer, with the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, he had the entire audience under his spell, whistling this symphonic poem. Peter Gelb was convinced after hearing Yannick just once. He invited him to lead his first New York production, Carmen by Bizet, at the age of just 34.
I knew immediately that he was exceptional.
7 years later, Peter Gelb appointed Yannick Nézet-Seguin the musical director of the house.
Yannick has a combination of the technique and the talents and the interest that uniquely qualifies him. He's not the only conductor in the world who can conduct successfully here, but he's also the right age. We want somebody who will grow with the institution and will hopefully last 40 years like Levine, at least.
7 years later, Yannick is following in the footsteps of the legendary James Levine, who spent 40 years at the Met.
It's more than an imposing legacy, it's a really overwhelming one. And I'm so respectful of his legacy, and I love the quality of his conducting and the human quality of the love for singers and for the art form.
The world now knows Yannick Nézet-Seguin is the conductor.
In New York, the young Canadian conductor is being welcomed with open arms. The famous soprano Renée Fleming is a pillar of the Met, and she's convinced.
He's very connected. He is sensible. He's sensible. He's sensitive, and he picks up on every gesture. It's remarkable. So we almost don't need to talk about it. We just do it.
But Yannick was also chosen to revamp the Met's image. He says he's determined to take the 100-year-old institution out of its comfort zone.
In new operas, what I like is very much the creative process. And perhaps I want to emphasize that creative process much more so that the public can witness the process of creativity and then see the final product, but not only this, maybe even more, witness how it's built.
Oh, yeah.
As a musical director of 3 orchestras and guest conductor with many others, Yannick's schedule has him traveling the world nearly non-stop. Just last summer, he gave 39 concerts in 25 cities on 3 different continents. 7 different orchestras followed the sway of his conductor stick, playing some 50 pieces. But Yannick is never far from home. He's constantly surrounded by his loved ones. His partner, Pierre Tourville, directs the Metropolitan Orchestra Choir, in which his mother, Claudine, sings. His parents are also his full-time assistants and travel with him constantly.
Ça lui permet un peu en voyage de partager ce qu'il vit. C'était encore plus important quand il a fait ses premières armes. Maintenant, il sait que ça nous fait plaisir.
From a very early stage, Yannick's parents knew he was exceptional.
On le trouvait exceptionnel comme enfant convaincant, enthousiaste, qui s'émerveillait sur les moindres choses. C'est un visionnaire.
Rehearsals are the best place to see the unique bond that Maestro Nézet-Seguin has with the musicians. He says he learned it from his mentor, the famous Italian conductor Carlo Maria Giulini, who taught him that respect and passion are essential.
To be a great or a good communicator, through the gestures, the face expressions, the body, speaking as well, of course, because we have to speak in the preparation. But I think communication is really what it is, because if we communicate our vision quickly and safely and clearly, then the musicians can express.
He is also very genuine as a human being and very clear what he wants. For me, he's the best conductor ever.
World-renowned musicians like the Capuçon brothers rave about his abilities.
I think what's the most extraordinary about him is his heart. He has a huge, enormous heart, and he knows how to give it. And this is, for me, the most important.
Musical critic Christian Merlin, who has been following Yannick's career for years, says discipline is key to his bond with the musicians.
Lorsqu'on parle de Yannick Nézet-Seguin, d'habitude on l'associe à cette idée d'énergie échevelée. Mais en fait, moi, c'est pas ça qui me frappe, c'est le contraire, c'est sa rigueur. Et c'est son sérieux dans le travail.
And this is too much, and I'm doing this, so please go with me.
Ce qui me frappe, c'est sa maturité, en fait. Son énergie, elle serait hors de propos et elle serait même inutile si elle ne s'appuyait pas sur cette base, ce socle de sérieux.
While most of his life is dedicated to music, Nézet-Seguin is deeply concerned by other issues. In front of our camera, he performs 22 push-ups, a challenge he took up in recognition of 22 veterans who commit suicide every day in the US. Suicide is not the only thing that outrages him.
The lack of love in the world. The lack of understanding of each other, the lack of wanting to understand each other.
And here is what he fears most.
I will show that I'm a little young still, but I fear about death. I fear death of my parents, I fear my own death, I fear, I've not come to terms with that at all.
Yannick Nézet-Seguin considers himself first and foremost a servant, in the service of music, of the musicians and the composers. But for this servant, the sky is the limit. Alexandra Chatska, CBC News, Montreal.